Hello and welcome to the DeWarioFreak Abridged Podcast. I'm your host, DeWarioFreak Anthony, and I'm joined by
TheCodingGamer or Miguel.
This is podcast number 26, and in this podcast, we're going to be talking about the brand new Pokemon movie that is actually not too far away from release. It is known in Japan officially as Pokemon the Movie 20, I Choose You. It is going to be releasing on July 15th. This is being recorded on June 20th, so that's roughly how many days?
About 25.
25 days.
I would say, maybe 26.
Because of the 30th day. Something in there, but anyways, not too far away, actually. And the main reason we're talking about this, actually, is because we want to address one thing. Obviously, it's going to be coming to the United States, because every single Pokemon movie has come to the United States. Now, here's the question, though. I believe only the first 5 Pokemon movies were released in theaters.
If I'm not mistaken, yeah. With Heroes being the last one released in theaters, that means approximately 14 would have been unreleased in theaters as of this point.
I believe so, yes.
Because there's 19 minus 5. So there's 14 that have never seen theaters.
With each movie going down and down in the box office.
There may have been limited releases of a few.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm not sure.
I actually think Heroes had a pretty limited release. Because, like I said, the movies were going down and down and down in box office. Now, of course, throughout all this time, they've been in Japan.
Yes, in Japan, they're a staple. They're like a yearly, theatrical thing at this point.
Yeah, so obviously it's coming to Japan in theaters, and obviously it'll be coming to America on DVD. And in some parts of the world, Blu-ray. Unfortunately, not Blu-ray in America. Most likely not. So that is actually a question. Do you think Pokemon... it's actually known as Pokemon the Movie 20, I Choose You. I'm just going to call it I Choose You. Do you think it could actually come to theaters in America as the first Pokemon movie coming to theaters for like, I'd say 15 years?
I would say that there's a really great chance that this thing could have a theatrical release for 2 reasons. The first being that it's a reboot, so to speak. That the fact that this is going back to the very beginning and it has a nostalgia factor on it. Whether you're new to the series or you're, one of the 90s kids. The fact that this is the original episode extended greatly, but I mean, you see that original stuff where he gets Pikachu, that instantly gives it a kind of like nostalgia factor that is going to instantly hit a chord with everyone. Because, right now, Pokemon fans are into it, but if they put a trailer out that, the casual people that don't really follow all the Pokemon news and they see... there's this movie that goes back to Ash in Pallet Town getting Pikachu, and, that is instantly going to click with so many people that were alive in the 90s.
Although, if I may quickly say one thing, the only thing I can really say is, there's obviously people like us, and probably even you right now, that know Pokemon is about, the Pokemon anime is about Ash who travels with his changing companions. He first had Misty and Brock, then he had May, Brock again, but Max, and then there was Brock and Dawn, and then there was, Iris and Cillian, and then there was Serena, Clement, and Bonnie, and now they're not really traveling, but now he has Mallow, Sophocles, Lena, Kiawe. Is that it, Ren?
Yeah.
Okay, well anyways, so that was pretty much unnecessary, but I just wanted to show, Ash has had different traveling companions. But a lot of people who haven't touched Pokemon for a long time, and also adults, like literally adults, they only know Misty and Brock.
Yeah.
And I have to admit, as you probably know, this movie has 2 new companions. No idea why they did that. I don't really know where this falls chronologically, if this is... Probably know it could be Ash's dream.
I've thought of that. I've also thought that this chronologically takes place between a region because according to the description, he makes a promise to Pikachu when they see Ho-Oh that one day they would find it. It doesn't necessarily say that immediately they set out on that quest. I think it could be an inter-region movie. At least that's a theory.
I really, really don't know. I'm just reading some of the description here. It says Ash Ketchum from Pallet Town is 10 years old today. So that means this part is taking place today. So it's his birthday, he sleeps in, he's late to the professor's laboratory. That all sounds right. Unfortunately, almost all the Pokemon are already gone. The one left is Pikachu, and he doesn't seem to Ash like much. To like Ash much. So that seems all about right. That sounds like the first episode just retold. Change a thing or two.
Right.
But then it says, but the bond between them gets stronger and stronger. And on the first day of their journey, they see the legendary Pokemon Ho-Oh, and they find one of its feathers. So that sounds like the first episode. They maybe add the feather finding.
Yeah.
And they add 1 or 2 things. It's the first episode. Then Ash and Pikachu promise each other, someday we will set on a journey to find this Pokemon. Now, assuming the movie revolves around them finding that Pokemon, which it kind of does, notice the word, then Ash and Pikachu promise each other, someday we will set on a journey to find this Pokemon.
Exactly.
And this is just the blurb off Bulbapedia.
But then read the next opening sentence there where it says, in their journey to achieve Ash's dream of becoming a Pokemon master, he meets other trainers, Soji and Makoto. And Ash hears for the first time about Ho-Oh's legend. It doesn't necessarily imply direct sequence. It just says in their journey.
Although I will admit it then explains, they talk about that, but then it says Ash goes to Mount Tensei. Sorry, I suck with Japanese. To fight his powerful rival. Will Ash and Pikachu reach the top of the mountain and honor the promise they made when starting their journey? The adventure only begins. The adventure only begins at the end kind of makes it sound more like this is an alternate reality.
Well, to be fair, all movies take place kind of in their own universe. They reference the main series, but
because it's like, for example, when does Pokemon Heroes take place?
Exactly.
It's not. There's no real place in the show where it could have taken place.
And almost nothing that ever happens in a movie is ever referenced back in the anime. I can't think of any time. There might be something, but I can't think of any time that, for example, Ash says, "Oh, I saw Lugia before," because he happened to see one in Pokemon 2000.
Yeah.
In fact, in Johto, doesn't he see Lugia in the Whirl Islands?
Yeah, and I don't think he references it.
No, I don't think he does.
So the movies are essentially independent, so it's good on that front. But of course, getting back to the whole purpose we're talking about here, do you think it could come to theaters?
I think that I already gave the explanation on the nostalgia. That's, half of my theory. The other half of my theory would be the idea that as a 20th anniversary celebration, this could probably have a bigger marketing budget. We saw that they did a Super Bowl ad.
Yeah.
Remember the Train On ad? And
which essentially served no purpose.
It really didn't. It just tried to make the name a household name again. And it is for parents with kids. But we see that Pokemon is trying to target older generations, actively. And this is a great way to do it. The 20th anniversary, we're going back to our roots. We're going, and on top of that, it looks like the animation is kind of, compare it to the Sun and Moon anime.
It looks more like a XY in the original.
And even comparing it to the XY series in the movies, it's really high level of animation. It's like they wanted to be one of the top tier animated films of that year. They didn't hold back.
I mean, like the XY movies, they definitely looked better than the anime. But not too much.
No, there wasn't quite as big a jump.
There was.
But, and on a side note, I'm actually kind of interested, even though this is counted as part of the Sun and Moon series, I'm actually interested in the first actual Sun and Moon movie.
The only thing I have left to say regarding whether or not I Choose You could come to theaters is I can say there's one argument against it not, and that is it could be a conflict of interest against the Detective Pikachu movie Legendary Pictures has license to make.
I was actually, kind of thinking that, but to be honest, I think it's only going to help it. If this comes out, and this very likely could come out within this year, if this is out in July, this could be like November, October, or something like that.
Well, all I can really say is, just imagine for a second, how much is the movie ticket? Like $8?
$9 would be good, okay value.
Okay, sometimes they're a little bit cheaper, sometimes they're a little higher, but let's just say $9. Let's say you're a dad, you have a wife, and you have 2 kids, and they like Pokemon. Yeah. They want to see Pokemon I Choose You, and they want to see Detective Pikachu. Are you really going to get 4 movie tickets that cost $9 for Pokemon twice?
Yes.
Well, actually, I would because I love Pokemon.
No,
but obviously there's also going to be other movies too, and a lot of time parents don't even like Pokemon. Yeah, you need to realize these parents that don't like Pokemon, which is sad, is literally what they're trying to sell it to.
You have to realize, right now, the box office for kids is really filled with Despicable Me.
Yeah, I was going to say Despicable Me, The Boss Baby, stuff like that.
Stuff like that.
So it's like, why would they even bother going to see an animated movie when the animated, like, when was the last animated movie in theaters and it didn't even do that good?
Well, there's a reason we're all CGI. But I think you're looking at it, like, negatively, and I can only see it as a plus.
Well,
I can see
I
that...
guess it's two point of views.
Well, yeah, it's 2 point of views. I see it as, this is a fully animated movie, something that hasn't been done for, like, 3 or 4 years, maybe longer. It's for a franchise that's family friendly, but again, the nostalgia factor. Even the parents that don't like Pokemon, like they didn't grow up with it or they don't care, they can take their kids.
Well, yeah,
and it's kind of, it could be that big event that it's a Pokemon movie, and it's animated, it's beautiful, and it's something that people want to see and talk about.
Well, that's true. All of that's true, but I can just say, Pokemon or not, Pokemon has been going down in box office since they started doing it. And as you know, animated movies are not incredibly popular.
Yeah.
And if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, the Pokemon games, Pokemon is never going to die. But Pokemon, the Pokemon games, they're doing fine. But I just don't see, like, there's a lot of demand for a Pokemon movie in America. Now, all of this said, I think it's awesome, and I hope for the absolute best in all of it.
Okay, well, yeah, of course. But then, can I just add this argument? Who could have predicted the success of Pokemon Go?
That's true.
That's true. I realize Pokemon Go, a lot of its success is from the gameplay. However, there were games like Pokemon Go ahead of time, yet they didn't click because they lacked the characters.
Well, all I can really say is Pokemon Go partially had its success because... Do you think Pokemon Go would have had as much success if it was on Nintendo Switch or 3DS? No, it wouldn't. Even if it was free on eShop, it had so much success partially because anyone could download it off their phones. And there's billions of phones in the world. And you know what it did? It took something that was everyone had and everyone could connect to, their phone. Now, does everyone like animation, like cartoon animation? Unfortunately not, no anymore. Is animation trending right now? No, not anymore. So that's all I can really say. I think it could, for lack of a better word, it could potentially fail.
And for lack of a better word, I think it could be potentially a huge hit just because it's so different.
It very well could. But all I can really say is because of the style of movies you get these days, I think if you were to see I Choose You in theaters versus Detective Pikachu would massively win.
Oh, yeah. Well, Detective Pikachu is going to be just your generic summer comedy. I assume it's going to be a comedy. It could also have a more serious tone, but that'd be kind of weird with Pikachu.
And like I said, I would like I Choose You to explode. I'd like it to come to America, and it's humongous. I'd love to see on TV, now in theaters, Pokemon I Choose You. I'd like to see that, but I just don't think it will happen. And if it does, I just don't think it will work well. But I want it to, but I just don't think it will using some decent logic. But that's pretty much it for this podcast, I'd say. Go ahead and comment below what you think about all of this. We definitely want to hear. And also, don't forget, guys, pretty soon we're going to be doing Pokemon I Choose You Abridged. Parody version of the movie that is a parody version of the movie that is going to be pretty funny, I think. And I think you guys are going to like it. There's already 2 trailers for it up on my channel. You can go ahead and check those out. But anyways, okay, don't forget to leave a like and don't forget to subscribe. This is DeWarioFreak and
TheCodingGamer.
Signing off. Have a great day.